Is this working? Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here in this beautiful day. Looks great outside. So thank you so much. I am Juliana, and I am a product designer in our loans team. And this is my Twitter handle. If you want to find me later, that's totally cool. So, right. Today I'm going to share some nice things about lending, and it's not half as boring as you might think. It's actually pretty cool. And I will first, of course, share some context. Why are we lending at Monzo? So we believe that, same as banking in general, borrowing money has been really frustrating, has been really complicated, and historically, really bad and really scary. For things like that, for example, not only we see horrible things like this in the news, like payday lenders taking advantage of people, but also things like the lack of transparency in the industry is really bad. The price you see on comparison websites isn't the price that you pay. Hidden fees, long and complicated forms, and most lenders will actually punish you for good behavior. Like if you want to pay early, they will charge you even more fees, which is really, really bad. This is not cool. So we believe that there's a huge opportunity here to do things better, to be on our customer side, and to remove barriers to borrowing, really. So we want to make money work for people when they need it the most as well. And in addition to that, lending is a big part of our journey as a company to become a sustainable business. And being a sustainable business is really critical because that's what's going to allow us to continue to build great features to you all and manage your money better. So yes, we will hopefully make some money from lending, but we will do it right. And yes, I've never worked in lending or banks before Monzo, but here I've learned that actually lending is not evil. And it's true. I've learned that lending and borrowing money actually is one way for people to solve a problem or to achieve a goal. So, for example, if you had an emergency or something you had to deal with financially that you didn't expect, like a broken car, a broken boiler, or even something more aspirational, like a big holiday or a wedding, things like that. So in the right circumstances, borrowing money can be a really useful way to manage your money, basically. And yes, it can feel complicated, but it really doesn't have to. And we have some lending principles at Monzo, and we've published this in our Twitter this week, actually, and we absolutely stick with these principles when we are designing and building our products. Things like being responsible, transparent, and fair, always being clear and speaking plain English, which is really important because lending is a heavily regulated business, and there's bags and bags of jargons and complicated words. And our goal is to speak human language, even when it gets really technical. So yeah, this is all great, but what have we been up to in the loans team? Well, we started offering loans up to 15K since April to our eligible customers, and we've been learning more and more about how they interact with the product, what are the motivations around it, and the main pain points. And we've been trying to bring everything you love about Monzo to our loans, which is really exciting. And the process to get a loan with Monzo is really easy, as you can imagine. There are no complicated forms. And that doesn't mean that we don't take this very, very seriously. We're super responsible with risk and how we lend. So we combine the data that we hold with the data from credit reference agencies, and we determine who we can lend to. And then we ask you three straightforward questions, and then we know how much we can lend to you. And then you choose your loan. So here is our loan calculator, and you can play around with the amount you want to borrow and for how long. The prices are really straightforward as well. There's nothing hidden. The price that you see here is the price that you're going to pay. At the end, you can choose your repayment date. And at the end, we also show you a summary of all the main things that you need to pay attention before you move on. And you can do all of this without hurting your credit score as well. So you can, if you need to come back here a few times before you make a decision, that's totally fine. And yes, once you take out a loan, I think the real magic happens. It's actually really cool. The new nav in the app has given us lots of room to improve the loans experience. And we know that taking out a loan is a massive commitment. It's something that you will probably have to deal with for months or even years of your life. So we want to make sure that our customers feel in control of their loans and they have full visibility. So here you have 2 quick actions to manage and to pay your loan. And you can do things like change your repayment date, and you can see all the useful information at a glance, which is really cool. And as of this week, you can also change your loan name and like pods, basically. You can change all the photos and things to make it more personal to you. So yeah, we've also learned that celebrating milestones is really important, and if you're on track paying off your loan, that's a really nice thing. And paying the whole thing off, it's a massive accomplishment as well, so we definitely celebrate it with some confetti here, of course. And yes, also, sometimes things don't go so well, right? So your life circumstances can change for the good or for the bad. And we're super proud to work really, really closely with our financial difficulties team to support people who are having issues paying off their loans. So we work really hard to get in touch with them, and we have repayment plans in place, and we have an absolutely stellar customer service, which is always great. And even if that happens, even if you default, which means that you couldn't pay off your loan, we will still work really hard to try to help and minimize the impact that could have had in your life. So yeah, we've been getting some amazing feedback from the customers who haven't taken out a loan with us, and it's great to hear what people value and the things that we can do to improve. So things like the process being really easy, being able to track your balance, receiving the money on the same day, and how easy it is to manage the rest of your finances as well. Flexibility to pay smaller chunks over time, and people telling their friends and family that they would recommend this is really, really great. And all these words are real words from our customers, so it's really cool. Right, so what's next? We will definitely continue to listen to our customers and to improve the loans experience in the app. And things like giving people more flexibility to make further changes. For example, if you take out a loan and then you realize you need more money, you can get a top-up, potentially. And things like also, you take out a loan and now I need to increase my term, like you need more time to pay off your loan. These are things that are in our radar, as well as we're exploring increasing the loans limits as well to 25K. And it's great because we will be able to cater for a wider range of problems and life situations. So yeah, I told you this wouldn't be so boring. So I'll give you a sneak peek, but disclaimer is this could totally not happen. Yes, don't quote me, and I won't make any promises, but as you know, our goal is to become this financial control center to you. And every time you have a question about money, if it's for budgeting, saving, borrowing, you name it, we want you to come to Monzo and we will be able to help you. So this is our vision. And we're exploring something new, which is potentially a way to show your credit score in the app, which is really exciting. We're doing lots of research, and we believe that there's some great opportunities in this space. Credit, whether we like it or not, is a big part of our financial lives, and there's a lot of frustration and doubts around credit scores. Like, does anyone know what it's really complicated. And imagine being able to check, track, understand, and even improve your credit score all in the same place that you manage all your finances. I mean, it makes total sense, right? And being who we are as a bank, I truly believe that we also have an opportunity to provide more education around credit as well and help people understand why things like credit score really matter and how and why this impacts my life and my future, and things like, oh, what kind of credit is the right thing for me to solve a problem or achieve a goal? So using credit right can really, really help you grow and unlock things in your future, and we want to be able to, take the negative mental model from credit, which I think it's a big mission. And yeah, I think we can do this really, really well. I'm really excited if it happens. And yes, it will be really awesome, I think. And that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening. Okay. And now you have business banking with Jordan and Sam.
Thank you, Juliana. Yep, so that was a great update on loans there from Juliana, and as you just mentioned, the next bit we have is business banking with Jordan Schweid and Sam Starling, who clearly has the best name in the whole of Monzo. Little inside joke there.
I'm not related to the bank.
Is it on?
Just Juliana, the clicker.
Try it. Oh, the clicker, sorry.
That's okay.
This TV here with the speaker notes says it's going to turn off in 25 seconds, which is very exciting and nerve-wracking.
This isn't on. Hello? Okay, it's fine.
There we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jordan, and this is Sam, and we work on business banking at Monzo. So we're here to tell you today a bit about the history of business banking at Monzo, why we're doing it, what we're doing, and what's coming next. So I want to start off and see, are there any small business owners in the audience here? Raise your hand. Quite a few of you. That's awesome. So that's kind of what we were hearing also when this all started out. So this business banking at Monzo started out, I'd say, about a year ago when Tom tweeted, what's one thing that you'd add to Monzo to make it more awesome? And we were really surprised to see one of the most common answers was business accounts. So we saw it on Twitter, on Facebook, on the community, and even in app chat. And what we wanted to do is understand, why is this so important? So for all you small business owners, you understand this. For those who aren't small business owners, we'd love to take this time to tell you a little bit about why business banking is so important to small business owners, what's broken today, and how Monzo is trying to make it better. So what we learned from people is that SME banking is broken. What we mean by that is it could take up to 3 weeks to open a business account. You're not really trusted to say who you are and get an account open. Maybe sometimes it takes you weeks to even send a payment. Financial admin is annoying and very manual. So the amount of people that we saw with boxes full of receipts in their closets to wait to send it to their accountant to get their tax returns done was outstanding. You use a lot of disconnected tools that don't talk to each other. So if you go to a shop and you're buying something, you might see someone using a point of sale terminal like Square or something like that. But then what you don't know is behind the scenes, people also have accounting tools and bank accounts. And making all those tools talk together is really, really difficult. Insights are hard to come by, so it's really scary for small business owners not knowing if you have enough money to pay the bills next month, or can you get that next employee, can you upgrade that office? And also that SMEs are diverse, and so are their needs. So the biggest thing I think that we took away from researching and speaking to small business owners is that everyone is different. You might be just a little shop around the corner selling cupcakes, or you might be a company like Monzo who's trying to grow and get bigger. So what we want to do is make sure we took all of those into account and really become the financial control center for your business. So much like your personal account, Monzo Business Accounts wants to be this. So what we're trying to do is really simplify your financial ecosystem, make things easier for you so that you can forget about finances altogether and get back to do what you love doing. So the way we see this is a bit different than on the personal side. Small businesses have a whole lot of things that they need to come up with, deal with all the time, whether that be accounting, lending, point of sale, payments, expenses, payroll. What we want to do as Monzo is really not replace all these things, but sit at the center of it and really make it simple for you so that if you are, let's say, making a payment, you can do it right away through your Monzo app, but it automatically flows into your accounting tool, whether that be Xero or Free Agent or QuickBooks, something like that. And maybe you have an expense and you want to take a picture of the receipt, but that receipt automatically gets sent through to there. And what we could do is help you then calculate your taxes, set money aside, so that at the end of the year, all you have to worry about is doing your business, not worrying about finances.
So if you, here we go, hello? What? Hello, great. If you speak to the Financial Conduct Authority, if you look at their website, 11 days is kind of the average of averages that it would take you to get a business account open. And this is something that Tom, CEO, found himself, is that right back at the beginning of Monzo, when we got that £3 million of seed funding, which is a great thing to happen, but you need an account to put it into. And I think it took Tom 3 weeks to get an account to put that money into. And so this is one thing we really want to improve on, a bit like very similar to when you open a personal account. We want you to be able to have a business account that's open within about 10 minutes. And we've been doing a lot of user testing in the office recently, so we've been getting people in and speaking to them either in the office or on video calls. And this is what business banking looks like for a lot of people. This is like a USB-C to USB to card reader. We spoke to a small startup in London. We spoke to their finance director and their CEO, and they kind of passed this between them in this weird ritual where if somebody needs to make a payment or work from home, they have to kind of hand it off and make sure it's in the right place at the right time. And unsurprisingly, the way that we want to solve this at Monzo is that you do it on your phone, and that's everything you need to make a payment. So no dongles required. Another thing about businesses, they're not just one person. There's a few of you, there might be a few people that need to have access. And if you want to do that with a kind of high street bank at the moment, you have to fill in one of these things. So a mandate form, which takes a while to fill in. It might involve calls, paper forms, visits to branches. And we've actually heard stories from people in user testing of them just not doing this. So that there's somebody they want to add or remove to the account that it's such a hassle that they just decide, actually, I'm not gonna do that. This is what that looks like for us. So it's very similar to when you pay a friend on Monzo, that we look at the contacts that are in your phone. We show you a list of people that you can add and invite. And when you invite them, they'll get a push notification. All they really have to do is accept our terms and conditions, and then they'll have full access to the account. So that's something we're working on at the moment. And in the future, this kind of screen here, be able to add someone like your accountant or kind of a finance assistant, somebody who could only make payments. So we're working on a slightly more fine-grained set of permissions for the people that you share your account with. Another big topic, taxes. This is a big problem for people, and before I worked at Monzo, I was self-employed. I would spend a lot of my day switching back and forth between my bank account, statements, invoices, accounting software to try and work out how much of the money that was in my account actually belonged to me. And this is something lots of people have told us. They've told us, I think, around half of the people that we've spoken to actually keep an entirely separate account just to have their taxes separate. Kind of a bit like what Xander was showing before. We're making good use of pots. So if you have a business account, you can set up what we call a tax pot. And when you create this, you tell us what percentage you'd like to set aside each time you receive a payment. And then it kind of just works. Every time that someone pays an invoice or every time that you get paid, we'll take a slice of that money, we'll take it out of your balance and it moves into a tax pot. And the feedback that we've had on this has been really good. The kind of peace of mind that it gives people, that tax becomes this thing that they don't need to work out every single time that they receive a payment, that it just automatically gets sent into the pot.
It's taken a little while. So some other things that we've been working on. So those two things that Sam just talked about, multi-user access and tax pots, are two of the biggest features that we've been working on this quarter to really help simplify banking for small businesses. But some other stuff that we've been doing. So we have a new Pebble Gray debit card. So if you ever see a Monzo card that's a light gray, that's ours. It still has a hot coral core. And you could have a separate debit card for all of your employees. What we're working on in the future is making sure that you could change the limits on those cards, so that maybe if you want to spend $10,000 on your card, but you want to have one of your employees only spend $200, that will happen too. We have the ability to send invoices in the app. So this was something that came up a lot from small business owners who are in the services industries. They'd have Microsoft Word templates that they'd save, send out, forget to chase up on, and not have keep track of it. So now all within the Monzo app, you could send, automate invoices, track them, reconcile them all in one place. The current account switching service is something that's really important for businesses. And you might know about it from the personal account, but why it's important for businesses is because you don't really have the time of day to think about finance, think about banking. You just want it to work. So if you open an account with us and your old bank supports it, you could automatically current account switch over, and it'll take 7 days. We have offers and discounts in the app, so this is something that we've been working on also because we know that as a small business, you might have to use a wide array of tools, whether that be a point of sale system, others tools. We're trying to get those for you at discounts and free. We also have higher payment limits and accounting tool integration. So right now we have direct bank feeds with Zero free agent, and we've just now launched QuickBooks integration through open banking. So what's next? Natasha was up here earlier telling you all about the FinCrime team at Monzo. So this is something that's really important to us in business banking also. So we're working on enhanced FinCrime controls to make sure that you feel confident that you and your money is safe with Monzo Business. We also have a web app coming up, which is really exciting. Monzo 3.0, so everyone was up here earlier telling you about what Monzo 3.0 looks like on the personal side. It can do even more fantastic things on the business account too. We have different account bundles so that you could pick and choose the features that meet your needs. So again, like I said earlier, not all businesses are the same. Not all of your needs are the same. So we want to make sure that you could pick and choose the things that work best for you. And also employee spend cards. Just a quick sneak peek. This is what we're working on right now. So the web app for business. This is just a mock-up. It's a prototype. It's not live yet, but this is what we're trying to get out to everyone. So as a small business owner, sometimes you want peace of mind that you can make a bulk payment, or that you could take the invoice and that you've been sent from a supplier and just copy and paste, make sure you're paying the right person at the right time. And sometimes that needs to be on the web, and we recognize that. So this is something that hopefully we have coming soon. And that's really the big thing that Monzo for Business is. So we had a quote from someone who is a retailer. So they have a small children's clothing shop, and they said this to us. They said, Monzo has made business banking so easy, from scheduling payments for invoices to having deposits hit my account in the same day. I can concentrate on building my brand whilst having all my transactions updated real-time in the palm of my hand. And I wanted to share that because it really resonated with us, because that's the core of what Monzo is trying to do. We're trying to make money work for everyone, the 5.6 million small businesses in the UK. And what that really means is just making you forget about finances. We want to make it so easy so that you could get on doing what you love, and that business banking is a breeze. So if you are a small business owner and you're interested, check out monzo.com/business. We're rolling out slowly right now, but in Q1 of next year, we should be rolling out much broader. That's it from us. Thanks. Up next is Thomas.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Jordan. That great update on business banking. Now, for the final part of our show and tell section, something that I'm really, really passionate about. One of the highlights of my Monzo career was about 18 months ago. I got to set up our Las Vegas support operation from scratch and be one of the team that went out and did that. And when I was showing and teaching them about our products, the thing that all of our staff there said was, when can we use it? When are you coming to the US? And over the past few months, that's actually happened. We've set up our LA office, and we have had various events in different cities, and we have actual US customers right now, which is just amazing. So to tell you all about it is our Director of US Operations, Thomas George.
Hello. Hey, how's it going? Thank you very much for having me. Hopefully this is going to work. There we are. Yeah, what an amazing day, and what an amazing turnout. Thanks for sort of coming down on your weekend. Admittedly, the weather is horrendous outside, so you're probably better off being on the inside. As Simon said, I'm Monzo's Director of Operations for the US. I've been at the company for about 4 years. In the last 2 of those, I've been focusing on kind of what it would take to take Monzo to new countries, and the US is where we've started that. So I'm really excited to give a little update about what we've been doing, some of the stuff that's coming kind of that way over the pond in the next kind of couple of weeks and months, and generally just kind of give a little update of what's been happening. So this is rather slow. There we are. We have a beta. That's kind of the most exciting thing. We've launched a beta product in the US. We did launch events in kind of August, and now like we have actual customers using actual cards in the US, which is super exciting. Just like in the UK, getting a banking license, getting all the kind of like regulatory approvals to do that is super tough, super time consuming. So we partnered with an existing bank in the US, and that's helped us kind of get to launch sooner. And the goal of all of this is we want to talk to real customers. We want to see what they use their financial products for. We want to understand what the pain points are, and then we want to build a product which solves some of those problems. So what have we launched in the US? It actually looks quite a lot like the product that you're using every single day. It's a little bit more bare bones. It doesn't have some of the kind of rich features that perhaps you like pots perhaps, but we're kind of like slowly rolling out those and kind of adding in bits and pieces. It does have Apple Pay and Google Pay from day one, which I think was something that I know that a lot of people who were big Monzo users in the early days were waiting a long time for. So we actually launched with Apple Pay and Google Pay from the first day. And we have peer-to-peer and bill splitting and all those good things. We work with this other third-party bank, as I said. So if you get a US debit card and look on the back of it, it actually says the name of this bank in Ohio called Sutton. They're our like partner bank, and they made sort of all of this possible in the sort of banking and regulatory side. So we spent the last month or 2 months traveling kind of across the US. This is us in New York City, but we went to Las Vegas, LA, where our office is, Ohio, Columbus, where else we go? San Francisco. So we've been across the US, and we spent the time kind of doing events, a bit like this, although generally somewhat smaller scale than this ridiculous venue, and generally getting a chance to like meet people and ask them, what they use their bank for and what problems they have. And we met hundreds of people, and some like 20,000 are on a waiting list now for that product in the US, which is super exciting. And we've been asking them, like, what is broken? What doesn't work? Tell us what we could make better. And one of the things we've learned from that is that there are, unsurprisingly, a bunch of differences between the US and the UK. And a few of those are very obvious. If you've ever been to the US, you know that someone's probably going to ask you to sign something instead of, type in your PIN number, stuff like that. But actually, when we start digging down, there's a lot of sort of fundamental differences between the two markets that are things that we had to learn and kind of dig into. I thought it might be interesting to share a few of those things to kind of just give a little bit of a flavor of some of the stuff which defines these two very different places. This one is super interesting. This is the number of banks in the UK, number of fully licensed banks in the UK, like about 300 or so. And of course, Monzo is one of them. In the US, there's like 5,000 banks. And there's a lot of these banks are super small state banks with perhaps a couple of branches, very like community focused. It's a big place. And that just means it's a much more fragmented market. You'll obviously be familiar in terms of fees and charges with things like being charged 50p a day for your overdraft. In the US, things are a little different. So this is the average, not the highest, the average charge that people are charged for going into your overdraft. So as you can, and this is relatively common across a wide range of fees. If you think about ATM withdrawal fees or minimum balance fees, in general, the US charges much higher fees for things. And there are some associated costs with that as well. We think we can help with problems like this. It feels like it generally makes it very expensive to be poor. So it's a very different market. I'm not sure anyone can actually see what those say, but we asked people, a bunch of stuff, and everywhere we've been kind of collecting thoughts and writing them down. And for me, it just underlined the importance of talking to people. But I think at its heart, it's also revealed there are some common threads between these two places. I think generally people find, just like in the UK, that they're looking for something that will help them have a bit more sense of control over their money. I think perhaps even slightly more than the UK, the US is somewhat more fragmented, so you might have a bank account, a credit card, insurance, but you also might have a product which you use for making peer-to-peer payments or for borrowing money. So it ends up feeling quite fragmented, and I think people generally find it hard to sort of have a single view of their money and their financial life. And that's where I think Monzo can come in. So this event is called The Future of Monzo. I thought it would be remiss not to talk a bit about the future of Monzo in the US. Admittedly, many people in this room will not see some of these things, but I still think they're quite interesting. First of that is, this is something that's been requested a lot, possibly because of the strength of feeling from our amazing community, and it seems like inevitable when you have 3 million customers that some of them will move to the US, or maybe some of them are already American, maybe some Americans in this room. So one of the things that we get requested a lot is, can I have a UK Monzo account and a US Monzo account? And I'm really pleased to say in the next kind of couple of weeks or months, that is happening. So you'll be able to have 2 accounts in your app and be able to kind of toggle between those. The disclaimer here, I think it's important, this isn't like a travel card. It's not for your weekend in New York where you want dollars. This is a full-fledged kind of bank account, basically. So you do have to actually be an American to get both of these products. But it's very exciting because this is something that I think big expat community, big kind of dual citizen community are really struggling. They come from the UK or have lived in the UK. You've experienced what Monzo feels like, and then you move back or move to the US, and you're like, why can't I have that? Well, soon you can. Of course, the hot coral card, no surprises, is front and center. We brought back the beta logo, which is very exciting. In the next print run, we're putting the beta logo back on. I think it's a nice thing to do to be able to talk about the fact that this is a beta. One of the things that we're launching really soon is contactless. This is hilarious that I get to announce this on stage. But it turns out that contactless is not a big thing in America. So our very first Monzo cards, in sort of like reverse, going back in history almost, our very first Monzo cards in the US didn't have contactless. They don't have contactless on them. They very soon will. And I think it's interesting. I think 2020 might be a big year for contactless in the US. A lot of card machines now accept contactless, and places like the New York subway are now trialing contactless. Amazing that they still use paper tickets, but they do. I think this is now, 2020 could be a big year for this. I think people like us giving people this product that's really easy to use and means they don't have to carry as much cash would actually be very popular. So it goes without saying, check out our Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram, our website, community, all of that good stuff. There's usually a kind of lively debate going on about what we should bring to the US. And of course, I think Simon might have mentioned we are hiring. If you feel like avoiding this horrendous weather and moving to Los Angeles, please come and talk to us because it's always sunny there. Or if you want to recommend someone, please do. And then lastly, this is kind of quite exciting. As I said, we have a waiting list, 20,000 people. We're going to be working our way through that somewhat slowly initially. If you would like to recommend to one of your American friends, you are American, you know Americans, please do use this lovely referral link. It will mean that we know who to refer and basically move up the waiting list a little bit quicker. So thank you very much for listening. That's basically me. I hope that was interesting, and thanks again for coming, basically. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Amazing update there. Very exciting stuff with our US accounts. I'm just going to put it out there. I would move to LA. This rain is ridiculous. Because we ran over a little bit, I mentioned earlier, we now have a very, very, very short break. It cannot be more than 15 minutes, so I'm going to say 10, and if everybody can start making their way back here after 10 minutes, you can go to the bathroom and get a bottle of water or something else to drink in that time. Then we will kick off in 15 minutes for our final part of the day, which you're not going to want to miss. So see you in 15 or 10.